Hello everyone, welcome to today's basic science class where our topic for today is force, and this is presented to you by Adenira Umar Olawale. Our topic outline for today's class. In today's class we'll be defining force, stating the types of force, mentioning the effect of force on objects, and lastly, stating the determinants of force's effect on objects. Next to look at is our objective for today's class. And in today's class, you should be able to define the term force, list the types of force available, state the effect which force has on objects, and lastly, mention the determinants of force's effect on objects. Force in perspective. What is force? I believe we've either pushed a car before or engaged ourselves in a tug-of-war game, whereby it involves pulling others towards us to declare either us or the other person the winner. Force is said to be a push or pull on an object in a given direction. Just like I've just explained earlier, when you push a car or you pull in tug of war, you've applied a force in a particular direction of either the push or pull. Also, force is said to be any action capable of moving a body or altering its speed in a given direction. As you have pushed the car, you have moved that car in the direction at which you have pushed it. Also, if you pull somebody towards you or a door, you alter the direction of that body towards you. Also, if your action is capable of changing the speed of a body in a particular direction, what you have applied is termed force. I believe with this we've understood the definition of force. Now we should understand that force is just like any other quantity. Quantities such as time, just as our weight. And all these quantities that I've mentioned, we know that they all have units that they are measured in. Time is measured in seconds or hours. Weight is measured in gram or kilogram. So also, force is measured in Newton. And the symbol is represented as a capital N. Next is for us to look at the types of force available. This type of force can either be contact force. What is a contact force? A contact force is a force which derives its sources from coming in contact with a body. And contact force involves either pull, push, twisting, friction, or the likes. If a force is not a contact force, it can be a non-contact force or otherwise called force field. These are forces that do not require coming in contact with any type of body or object. Examples include gravitational force, magnetic force, electrical force, and so on and so forth. With these two forces being itemized, we now need to look at the various examples of both contact and non-contact forces. One of which is frictional force, otherwise called friction, which is a force that is said to oppose motion. Gravitational force is the next one, is a force which Earth exerts on object that makes it to pull object towards the center of the Earth. The next is magnetic force, which is a force that exists in magnetic field or magnets. And lastly is the electrical force, which is a force that exists in an electric field. Now we'll be looking at the effects that force has on objects. What are the effects of force on objects? One of it is it causes motion or movement, meaning that it makes body move from one point to another. Next, it makes moving body move faster or slower. Also, one of the effects of force is it causes change in the direction of a body's movement. And lastly, it can make moving objects stop moving in a particular direction. Just like I've said, when you push a car, it's either you make the car to move faster or slower. You have changed the direction of the car, and also you can also make a body to stop moving when you apply force. With this said, we are now look at what determines the effect of force on objects, and these include the magnitude of the applied force. That means the amount or the quantity of the force that you apply. The next thing is the direction of the applied force, whether it is going towards in the direction of the moving object or opposing the direction of the moving object. It also determines the effect that such force has on the object. And lastly, the position or the part of the object that the force is applied. As you know, we had 4 objectives and this objective has been met. But before we wrap up our class, we need to recap on what we have treated so far. And this leads us to the summary of the class, where we treated the definition of force. And we said a force is said to be a push or pull on an object in a given direction. Also, we looked at the types of force, and we said force can either be a contact force or a non-contact force, otherwise known as force field rather. Also, in today's class, we talked about the effect of force on object. We said force causes motion, it makes moving body move faster or slower, it causes change in the direction of a body's movement, and also it can make moving objects stop moving in a particular direction. And lastly, in today's class, we talked about the determinants of force's effect on objects, where we said the magnitude of the applied force is one of the determinants, likewise the direction of the applied force, and lastly the position by which the force is applied. With this summary highlighted, we now move to the assignment where you need to solve these on your own. First, what is force? 2. Mention the types of force available with examples. State 3 effects of force on objects. And lastly, list 2 things that determines the effect of force on objects. With these, we have come to the end of today's class, and for that, I say thank you for staying with me. See you some other time.